Welcome back, and in this video we're continuing a remake of the ZX Spectrum classic Jetpack.
So the first thing I did after I finished the other video there was I changed the sprites, so now that they look nice, and they're separated correctly with colors and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these collectibles, and these collectibles are going to drop at particularly randomness. The first one I'm going to do is the fuel. So I'm just going to create prefabs for these, and then when they drop, then it's up to the prefab to decide, or sorry, it's up to the player to decide what to do with that particular item. So I'm going to do what I did before, which is draw out a 16 by 16. So change that to 16 by 16. And that is going to be the fuel, so that is going to be called fuel, and I'm just going to repeat this for the other ones below. Duplicate that, and call that gem, and this is just pebble. I don't know, probably rock, but never mind. This one is gold bar. And this one is molecule. Okay. No, it's not the right one. And then this is radioactive. Okay. And then I'm just going to name them whatever they are, because I don't think it particularly matters. But, well, radioactive, molecule, gold. Let's call that gold bar without a space in it. Pebble, gem, and then fuel. Okay. So the fuel, oops, let me apply this first of all. Okay, and so now we have our fuel, our gem, our gold bar, our molecule, our pebble, and our radioactive. And then all of these, they can go in at 5 as well. It's good enough. Okay, let's just make sure we've got all these. So here, oops, and that one there. Okay, so the fuel is purple, so I'm just going to make that purple. Right, purple. Yeah, that kind of color. The gem, make that kind of orangey color. Gold bar is going to be yellow. Molecule, green, greenish, green, sure. Pebble. Pebble is going to be blue. I want to say blue-ish. And then radioactive. Let's make that red. Kind of red color. Okay. So that's all the ones that we've got there. Fuel is a tricky one because that's the one we have to pick up and drop. But the rest of these, we should be okay, because it's just a matter of picking up and adding score to it. So I'm gonna call all of the. So these are rocket parts. I'm gonna add tags. So rocket part, and then it's just gonna be pickup, and then the other one is going to be fuel. So all of these here are pickups, so I'm going to mark them as pickups, and then this one here is going to be fuel. And I'm going to go to the prefabs, and I'm going to grab all these, drag them out. I've got to do them one by one. Come on, Unity, you could do better than that. You know fine well I want to drag and drop these things, so you're going to make me do it all one by one. Ridiculous in this day and age. Okay, so there's all of those there. I can get rid of them now. And then I'm going to create another game object here. Drop manager. And that's going to sit at 0, 0, 0. Actually, maybe not. Maybe what I want it to do is I want to have it drop at a position up here. So maybe what I want to do is I want to actually have it, where's that going to sit? Roughly 96. Yeah, let's make it sit at 96. And then it's going to go, where's the edge of this screen here? 128, of course. Okay. So it's either going to go plus or minus 128. Okay. So our drop manager is going to live up here, and I'm going to create another script called drop manager. Create script drop manager. And I'm forever not doing this, I'm going to drop that there. And then the drop manager, it's going to have a bit of logic in it. So it's only going to drop a certain number of shapes. So public pickups, public game object, fuel, and I need private static read only float, and then it's going to be minus 128, but it has to be we can't have it right at the edge, so it needs to come back 16, so I'm going to say minus 112. That's going to be left most edge equals that, and then private static read only float right most edge equals 12 that, and then our diff is going to, the size in there is going to be 224. Private static read only float area drop width equals 224. Okay. And for a drop manager, mark that as being closed there. So there's all our pickups. So our pickups are going to be random between these ones here, and then the fuel is obviously going to be this one here. Okay. So the fuel, a couple of rules. Fuel is only active if the rocket is complete. There can only be X number of gems pickups dropped if fuel is available and the next drop is if fuel is available, if fuel is required, sorry, and there is one slot left, it has to be fuel that drops. Okay, so I think that's well, fairly self-explanatory. So we're going to drop at certain intervals, and we'll determine that from here. Let's make it every 4 seconds. So public float drop rate equals 4. So every 4 seconds we're going to drop something. So we're going to say my enumerator start while true, yield return new, wait for seconds, drop rate seconds, do the drop thing, and then keep going. And let's have a public bool is running equals true. If not is running, return yield return break. No. Okay, so if it's not returning, if it's not doing anything, don't run it. Simple-ish statement. Make sure that compiles, everything's compiling, okay. So after it, we want to pick from a random thing. So max, we also need to know if the pickup has been picked up. How do we know if the pickup's been picked up? Okay. So we want to basically tell it to remove it from here. So I'm going to have a private list game object dropped items equals new list of dropped items, and we can't drop any more items there. So if count is equal to 4, let's make it 4 dropped items. Yield return no. Oh, is it yield break? No. Less than 4. Greater than 4. Will that work? Well, let's find out. Do the drop thing. Okay. So otherwise do the drop thing. So what I want to do is I want to find out what object we're going to do. So we're going to say if dropped items dot count. Oh, wait a minute. If drop fuel game object equals drop fuel. So if we're going to drop fuel, we want to have the fuel prefab. Otherwise, we want to have a random prefab inside pickups. So we want to say pickups random dot next range 0 comma pickups dot length. What was it all like about that? exclusive. Okay, so that's between that and that one. Okay. And we don't know what drop fuel is, so we need to have private bool drop fuel. If dropped items dot first dropped items dot length plus plus bool fuel in play equals false. If dropped items dot I dot name equals dot tag equals fuel, brick. So if it's in there, we want to return false. If fuel is in play, we want it to return false. True. I don't like doing the negative thing, but I'm gonna have to do it for this one here. So fuel in play. So we want to go through all the fuel. We want to go through all the items that have been dropped, and if it hasn't been dropped, but I want it to be random. I want it to be random as well, because it, otherwise it's just what I want to do is I want to have all random in there. So what I want to do is, I'm stuttering over this. What I want to do is I want to say, okay, if no fuel is dropped, then give me a random thing that contains fuel. Otherwise, if it's the last thing, then give me fuel. So I want to say return fuel in, so I want to force it to drop fuel. So I only wanted to force it to drop fuel if fuel is in play. If there's not fuel in play, and dropped items dot count equals 3. So if the fuel isn't in play and dropped items is 3, then return that there. So what is that saying that? Oh, that's why. Okay. So I want to say, so go through all the items. If the item is equal to fuel, then fuel in play is true. So only if there is no fuel and the dropped items is 3, drop fuel. Otherwise, I want to random pick up in there. So I want to say, I don't want to do this every single time. So on the start, I want to say list. Yeah, full items. Add range, pickups, refabs dot add item, fuel. And to be in there. That's going to be count. Okay, and then I want to say prefab.transform.position equals new vector 3, and then it's going to be the x value, and then the y value is going to be gameObject.transform. Okay, and then x x equals float x equals, and it's going to be leftmost edge plus what do I call this? Drop width times random dot unit range 0 1f int okay, that's fine. Okay, then I want to drop that, so I want to drop it until it hits something, but to be honest I think I can just get away with it. Okay, so now what I've done is I've made an absolute hash of this, so I need to go back through here and then add rigid bodies and things in here. Okay, let me just do that. So box collider 2D, oh sugar, size is going to be 8, it's going to be 16, and then the Y I'm going to bring it down to 10, and then the offset on the Y it's going to be in there, that's fine. And then I want to add rigid body 2D. Oh, but the box collider itself has to be a trigger. Okay, and then the same thing for the gem. Rigid body, no. Move component. This is going to be rigid body 2D, and this is going to be box collider 2D. Oh, actually, can I do this for all of these? Add component box collider 2D, add component rigid body 2D. Okay, and so inside gem box collider size is going to be 12, and then the offset is going to be about here. Perfect. That's going to be for that, and offset is going to be there. Let's make that 6, 8. There we go. Okay. Perfect. And then the rigid body 2D is that. Also don't want it to freeze on rotation, so I'm going to hopefully do that. Okay. And then this one here. 12. 2. This 2. Okay. And this is going to be 8 minus 8. 4, okay, and 12, and minus 2, okay. Okay. So I think that's everything. So after 4 seconds we should see things dropping. And we're not. No, nothing's dropping. Lesson 4. Okay, let me just flip this around. That there, that there, that there. So we're going to wait for 4 seconds, check to see what we're dropping. If we have to drop fuel, we're going to drop fuel. Otherwise, we're going to drop some prefab thing up here. And then we set that to be there, and so on and so forth, and such like. Okay. 3, 4. Nope. No, that's not working. So let's set a breakpoint here, and then after 4 seconds, it will then activate. There we go. Running is true. Dropped items is less than that. Prefab is that. Oh, I haven't instantiated, that's why. Okay. Still haven't figured out how I'm going to tell it not to. Okay. Need to know a few things about this. Okay, so we're going to say prefab, and then we do game object copy equals instantiate prefab. There was something, there was an edge case I thought there, because when you have fuel, it only drops if it only drops if you it only drops if you have a full rocket. So it needs to, the drop manager needs to know that you got a full rocket. Otherwise it can't drop the I don't need that rightmost. Otherwise it can't drop the fuel, but that's something we'd fuel will always drop to do. Stop it by checking on the state rocket. The fuel only drop if the rocket is in one piece. So is that there, da, 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 and then that's going to be copy instead of transform. So make a copy of the prefab and then drop it from there. Okay, and then we need to also add it to the list as well. So we want to say dropped items dot add copy. And there we go. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. Third one. See, the fuel's dropping there, but we can't have that. Also, these aren't all triggers, so we need to make sure they're all triggers. And I think that's a problem with the prefab. So go back to the prefabs, and for all of these, the olive box colliders, and where are we? They should all be triggers. Boom. So they're all triggers there. Okay, now we can't get it to drop There's something else I thought of there as well, and that was happening. So we'll get this here. So okay, that's that there. Oh. Oh, that's just going to fall through. Okay, so they've got to be, they have to be rigid. We can't have them as triggers. Okay, no problem. Because they're rigid bodies. That's okay. Because what we can do is we can just get them to ignore for Jetman. So I'm going to tag this as... do I need to do it in plain tag? Oh, how do we do this again? Project settings, physics 2D. Yeah, okay. So now we need to have this as oh, but the thing is, I want to pick it up. Rigid body is trigger. Now, I think I want it to be. I think I want it to be as trigger is no. I don't want it to be a trigger because I need it to affect change, but I also need to be able to pick things up. So this is a bit tricky. So I need it to pick things up, but I also need it to obey the rules of the play of the game. So when it hits here, it has to stay there, that's actually consistent with see, that's going to land on top of our man there, and that can't land there. So yeah, so there's a couple of issues there. So the good thing though is that you see that it's 4 because there's only 4 that can fall. But I need to figure somehow to make it a trigger sometimes and a rigid body other times, which is not good. So yeah, I'll need to have a wee think of that. Okay, but right now let's see if we can get it to not drop if the ship, like only drop fuel if the ship is available. So I think what we can do is we can say this is going to drop the parts there, and then we can say the ship is complete if that's all been set. So in it rocket position, so let's say we have public pool ship is whole. We can set this manually because you can say init rocket position 0 blah 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 blah, and then we can say is ship whole equals not split rocket. So ship is not whole at this point. And then inside drop the part we can say ship is whole equals rocket part dot that's going to be rocket part ID equals 0. So if rocket part ID equals 0, then the ship is whole. And in that way you can drop it, and in the drop manager I can say list game object prefabs no fuel equals new list game object that prefabs no fuel equals dot add range pickups. So pickups is only going to be if we don't have any fuel. So I'm going to say list, let's just call it var prefab list equals rocket manager dot instance dot ship is whole prefabs. Otherwise we do prefabs no fuel. Okay, and then we use prefab there. Okay, and we could tidy this up and put this inside different functions and things, but I think this is good enough for what we're doing here. So now the 4 items that fall, so we've got our gem there, okay, and we've got our thing there, that one there, and then the next one will be, next one's fuel. Well, that's not good. I think the problem is we need to check inside there as well. So we need to say if the ship is whole and fuel is not fuel in play and the dropped items is 3, then we want to drop fuel, because otherwise we don't want to drop fuel at all. Okay. So our 4th item should not be fuel. No, this needs to be a trigger as well. Okay, and then that one there's the gold bar. Okay. Did I make a mistake with this one here? I think I did. Let me go back to the project and not console project, and then for this one here, I think I this should be a trigger. Box collider should be a trigger. Okay, because I should be able to walk through this. All right, so I can walk through this, and then if I gather these up, I can move these out the road. That's not good. I should be able to pick them up. I grab this one here. No, it's not going to be able to get it in time. Grab that one there and drop that one there. Boom, there we go. Okay, so I need to be able to pick up the dropped items. So as soon as I can pick up a dropped item, I think we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another script, and it's going to be called pickup item. C# script. Just call it pickup. And for each of these prefabs, so for each of these prefabs here, I need to add that pickup to it. So I'm going to do that for each one of these. Pickup. And what pickup is going to do is I'm going to tie it into a function here. So it's going to be copy dot set drop manager this, and then I'm going to have public void pickup object game object pickup. And then I'm going to say dropped items dot remove pickup destroy pickup. All right, and copy dot get, that's going to be get component pickup dot set drop manager, and then inside pickup public void set drop manager drop manager equals drop manager private drop manager on trigger on collision enter stay 2D if collision what is it, collision let's make that a player for a start. Collision dot get game object dot tag equals player. So equals that, and you haven't been picked up equals true. Drop manager dot pickup object this dot game object. Okay. All right. So let's see if that works. So we're going to go in here and pick up this one. There we go. Picked that one up already. Pick this one here. Pick that one up. That one up. That one. Drop that one off. So now you should start seeing fuel. I think we need to increase the chances of fuel because it's only going to be picking up. Oh no, there you go, there's one fuel. Alright, cool. So we got fuel. Right. So if it's fuel, what we need to do is we need to offset, we need to make sure the player gets the fuel. So that's the next thing we need to do. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it the old thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it the old thumbs down. Leave a comment below as well. All of these things help rise us up in the YouTube algos, and I really appreciate it because it really drives the channel forward a little bit. And as always, if you did enjoy this, you got this far, and you want timely reminders of when I put new videos up, then don't forget to hit the old subscribe button and notification bell, and YouTube will work its algorithms and give unto you these videos, whatever, or not. It's up to you. It's a free country. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.